Man, we're rolling.
We rolling.
Hey.
We rolling. That's my
Whoa.
man A Deezy right there.
Yo, Daytwan, we got a family member in the
Wow.
building today on these
Word.
internets, man. We got family, man.
Yo, just here to grace the coming king joints. Just like I just can't believe that we got you though, Reg. It's like
Listen.
Well, listen, like, first of all, hello, everybody. Let me tell the story, even how
Reagan Gomez, because we got to say, come on, you know,
oh
for the
yeah,
people that's
Reagan,
listening.
I'm just
For the people
I'm
that's
like
listening. Exactly. We about to jump right into the
I'm
people
ready.
that's listening. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
we got the amazing.
Let me tell y'all the story. So I think the first time I was in King, I was maybe 23. Wow. Something like that. And I had been off of Parenthood for a minute now, and I was starting to do films.
Right.
And I was with this manager who had a new assistant, and he was young and he was hungry, and he was a fan of mine. And I don't know if he called y'all or y'all called him, but he got the call and was like, Reagan, you have to do this. And my manager at the time, an older white woman, she was kind of like, what is this?
No.
I was like, well, you know what? I'm 20 motherfucking 3.
Right.
I'm still 16, and I'm not, and I'm fine. And, I would be interested in this. I had no idea if y'all were going to say yes or whatever, but it worked out. And I was in the magazine, three times, I think?
3 times.
At least 3
on the cover.
2 times on the cover, at least 3. Right. I'm gonna tell you, I don't even remember. It's crazy to think that, man. This is our 20th year. It'll officially be 20 years in November when we released the first issue. So it's crazy to think about. But I mean, I do remember so many things about that shoot, so many things about that experience, and whether you know it or not, regardless of how it came together, you were definitely on our radar.
Oh, automatic. Nice. Okay, nice.
You were definitely on our radar.
Automatic. And it was one of those things where, like, for so long we would get, and this is in the days of everybody writing in, we would get emails and stuff, but the written ones, there was nothing like it, because people used to write in these dudes, be them in jail, be them on the street, be them business dudes.
Everybody had access. Everybody had access. What they thought and they real opinions. Yep.
And they would write about you. They would write, and they would have you as someone that they needed. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man,
this is my newly married cousin just walked in and said, I want
the
some
food ready. Daytwan, the food ready. Come on, get some of this chicken. The food's ready.
That's so funny.
I told you, Reagan, I'm at my aunt's crib. It's real.
It's all good. It's
like, you want some Henny?
That is hilarious.
But now,
it was like the craziest thing. So obviously, just coming to know you, we all, the world, the majority of the world, came to know you as Zaria on the Parenthood with Robert Townsend. And it was just like, oh man, look at the little cute girl, little cute daughter, so it was definitely one of them things, just being, a fan, and just looking back at it, it's just fascinating to think, 20 years later, man, we just got a chance to put together a magazine that we wanted to see.
Yeah.
Something that we always want to see. All of the different elements that we put in the King were all of the things that we wanted to see in the magazine, and we actually had a chance to do it. So, and the type of, the type of women, the type of guys, the type of lifestyle, things that we were into. We wanted all of these things in a magazine. Yeah. And, with us, growing up with you, it was like, damn, you were one of those people that were definitely on the radar. Like, wow, that'd be dope.
Well, y'all were like the first magazine, women's magazine or men's magazine that approached me, because at the time, I think Maxim was out, and I forget the other ones, but they weren't checking for me. They weren't checking for Black women. They were barely checking for women of color. So, I was honored when y'all reached out, because I was like, I grew up with Jet magazine and the Beauty of the Week.
Come on now.
The magazines that my mother had, and I thought these women were just so beautiful and so glamorous. And at that time, it was really only King that was given that to the community, to the culture, like because everybody knows that Black women and women of color are the most beautiful women in the world. Facts. And you guys were showing us off. So yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. But one of the things that like really surprised, I think, a lot of people was the fact that you were so mature at such a young age, and mature to the point where you were married at a young age.
Oh yeah,
that's a different level of maturity. It's one thing to be able to sit down with a young person and speak to them and understand that they know exactly where they're going. They have like all their things in alignment, but you were already in some people's like dream situations.
Yeah.
So could you explain like, you know, the early part of, you know, matrimony and becoming a woman in that sense?
So I was actually dating my husband. Yeah, both of y'all know my husband, but we were actually dating when I was on Parenthood, and I'm very thankful that the blogs and all of that were not around back then. But we were like each other's high school. Like my husband was a music producer. He was modeling big time at the time for like Vogue and Versace and all that. So we were this cute little, you know, Hollywood teen couple, you know, doing teen things. And when Parenthood ended, I was on my own at 17, 18. I had my first place, and we were just like, why not? Let's just, you know, start our family. We didn't have our daughter until 7 years later, but we really, really enjoyed that time. And then, you know, we had our daughter and we got to enjoy her. We had our son, and that's what I do. Like, I've never really been the one that's like out and about. I'm always home. I'm always low key. I'm very down to earth and real. I don't have a nanny, never had a nanny. I'm a legit soccer mom, you know. Also doing the other things that I'm doing as well. But that the home life has always been very important to me, especially because I was in the business so young. And I really respect a lot of the people who were around my age who are still in the business, like Brandy and Monica and all of these people, especially for Black women, because a lot of us did not make it. And so I'm very proud that we're still here and healthy. And all that. So I've always been very family oriented. So yeah.
The crazy thing is, it's like you mentioned your husband. Like I said, we definitely you know him, you know, and love him. You know, he's super cool, dope dude. The crazy thing is like every time I think about the two of you, it's like man, I'm like, damn, I think I must have met him before you met him.
I don't know, man.
Because listen. So you talk about, okay, y'all met, you know, music producer, you know, just, you know, modeling for all of the super, you know, fly outlets. I met your husband as a rapper.
Yeah, so then you did. So then I was super early 90s.
Right. I met him when he was in the group Quo, signing Michael Jackson.
That's right.
Back in November 94. How about that?
Oh yeah. That was definitely. I think I met him maybe 2 years later. Yep. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Right. And I'm just like, and it is so crazy to think later, you know, and put the two together. Like, hold on a second. That's what she? Is that how it? Is he doing what now? It was just like
tell you a lot about me and the kind of character, the kind of person I am, because my husband is a real dude. He is
for sure
a real dude. So yeah, we've been married and we have our two. They not little kids no more. They big kids. But yeah, we have our family. We're like a Black artist family. That's how I like it.
No, and I'm gonna tell you something else that I really appreciate. I mean, I'm in Atlanta. I live in Atlanta now.
Yeah.
Lived in LA for 10 years. But you know, just really, you know, getting to know what that whole Hollywood typical experience is like, and man, there are so many reasons why relationships fail and people go crazy and people go out of work and all these different things. One thing, Reagan, I will say that you know, just I've always appreciated, you know, just about both y'all since day one. What is that? You know, just the down to earth, real, just every, you know, and when I got an opportunity to come out to the house.
You
now,
did.
It's like
the house.
So it was just like, it wasn't like, okay, y'all live, 10 minutes from downtown, 35. Y'all live out there. And I think that's another one of those things that really help to keep y'all grounded, because y'all not caught up.
This is where we live our life. Like, this is our community. We know our kids' principal at the school.
Right.
My daughter is gonna be in high school in the fall, so we already doing what we need to do.
Easy to think about. That's crazy.
He's an athlete. My oldest is an athlete, and
Serious.
we can talk about that too. But like, even being a mother, like even outside, because like I write, I direct, I do all that stuff. I'm still acting, I do voiceovers, I do all that kind of stuff as well. But being a mother with these Gen Z kids, like they're really special.
Yep.
They're really, really special. And, my husband and I, having all the history that we have in entertainment and music and modeling and all that, like, we're very focused on raising our children in the real world, kind of outside of all of that. So that's something that we're really, really proud of. And my oldest, like, I think about the legacy that Gigi Bryant left, and like LeBron's sons, and like these young kids who are athletes right now. Like, my daughter is like she plays soccer, and she be balling out, and she's often one of the few Black girls on the team. So like, thinking about these kids going into high school and going into college, that's another level of my life that nobody really cares about or knows about, but that I value as a mother now.
All the way. And Scarlett, I think that's my birthday twin, right?
Birthday twin. That's
right. Every year she's in my shout out every year now.
That's right.
Scarlett is amazing. What is it like seeing her progress in soccer? Like, I know you said you're a soccer mom, but what kind of soccer mom are you, and what it's like seeing her?
Oh man.
Well, it's been crazy because, we're in Southern California, so all our shit has been locked down. So we just had a game this morning. Our last one was maybe like 3 months ago. So all last year kind of threw us off, but we're excited to get back into it. But I'm the kind of soccer mom. I'm loud, but I've been told that people would like me to tone it down. People is my daughter, so I'm trying. I'm trying, but it's so crazy, like seeing your kid like excel in some shit that you didn't do. I mean, I play sports, and my husband comes from a football family, but we weren't playing soccer like this. Like seeing her out there, like dominating, like. Who the hell is this person? Like, it just makes you so proud. And I wanted her to do, obviously, if she didn't want to do sports, we wouldn't be doing sports. But I just think sports for girls is so important, about their confidence and team and all that. I guess for all kids. But yeah, I love the shit. She wants to go to motherfucking UCLA. We go watch the girls team all the time. So yeah.
That's beautiful. I love so it's one thing to say how rare it is for us to see child stars come out on the other side without them being a lot of crazy stories and drugs and just craziness. But it's like you're in a couple where two child stars, were able to transition and go into a space to where, it's like, man, y'all, got your mind right, you're focused, handling business, raising kids now. I mean, like how often does that even come to mind, or do you even think about it as a thing?
I have to remind myself and remind him, like, this year has just been crazy. This past year has just been crazy anyway, but just the day to day when, we're doing homework and got to rush to soccer practice, or I have to fit in time to, self-tape for an audition or something like that. Like, we do have to remind ourselves, because in the day to day, you tend to forget things, but I'm proud of where we are. I'm proud of where we are. I'm proud of what we've accomplished, and we're not done. We just get we have so many other things that we want to do and that we are doing, and I'm really excited about the future as well. So, you're just grateful. You're grateful. You take in the moments, and then you continue to live your life and try to be the best person you could be. You try to learn and unlearn and all that good stuff. So, yeah, that's it.
I mean,
you're already being like such a supportive mom and forward thinking in terms of where Scarlett is going, and UCLA, take her to the game. Like, what was that like, for you though? Because your journey started in Detroit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Both my parents are born and raised in Detroit. What up though? My mother actually was on the Detroit Police Department in the 70s when they first started letting women onto the force. So she loves to tell me she was a sharpshooter, and she rode motorcycles back when women didn't ride motorcycles. She actually wound up suing the city of Detroit for sexual harassment, and she won. So then we moved to Philly, and that's kind of when I got started in theater and all that. We were right next to New York, so we would go back and forth to auditions in New York. And it was the summer I graduated 8th grade, the summer of 1994. My mom was like, "You doing all right in New York? Let's just go to LA and see what happens." And I was like, okay, it's just gonna be for the summer. I was so excited about starting 9th grade. So we took the Greyhound bus from Philly to LA.
What? Wait, time out. That's where the whole story just.
Was it like 3 days? Is that like 3 days?
I'm looking at the flight.
It's crazy. No, we took the Greyhound bus, and my mother, being savvy with media because of her case, she called Dateline NBC and was like, this Philly girl wants to go to LA for the summer just to see what happens. And so they followed us. Dateline NBC, they followed us across the country.
What?
And yes, within a month, I had a manager. I had booked a Disney movie, the Disney remake of Freaky Friday with Shelley Long. She used to be on this show called Cheers.
Come on now.
And Gabby Hoffman. So I did that. And right before I was scheduled to go back to Philly, my manager got a call that this new network, they're doing this new show with Robert Townsend. And I knew Robert because I was a fan of the Five Heartbeats. My love Hollywood Shuffle. So, and then I got it. And then we had to move to LA. And I was pissed because I wanted to start 9th grade and I couldn't do it. So
you wanted to stunt. You wanted to stunt on everybody. You ain't get a chance to stunt.
I wanted to start 9th grade so bad. But yeah, we moved to LA and that's how that all happened. So bringing it back to my kids, like we do have, valuable, I guess, lessons and memories and mistakes that we've made that maybe the average parent, who's not in Hollywood would not have made or even been exposed to or knowledgeable on. So, whatever my kids want to do, we're going to be very, very supportive and smart. And it's, something that I think I didn't really have because my mother didn't know. She didn't know a lot of things. So we do. So. But
she knew enough to get y'all out of Philly and
go crazy.
She's just a Detroit hustler like that. Yes, indeed.
That is crazy. So what was that like? I mean, it's one thing to say, "Hey, man, I'm watching the Five Heartbeats, and oh man, Robert Townsend, he's awesome," but it's like, okay, now you're here front and center.
Yeah,
like you're in our living room,
trading lines with them.
Right.
Oh yeah. I remember for the network test, Faison Love was in the waiting room, and Ashley Amari Adams, who would play my sister Cece, she had just turned 3. Whoa. She had just turned 3 years old and was there for a network test. But the show, it was very like, it was so many Black shows back in the 90s, and we were all, how we do. It was very like God, and we prayed, and they were very protective over us young people, especially because for a lot of us, this was either our first job or our first big TV job. So we were still very new, but Robert knew what he was doing. He was a father. And watching him, I didn't know until I became a director myself, just how much I learned from him that I wasn't even aware of until I needed to start pulling. Like, what do I do? Oh shit, I already know what to do. So that was just a blessing. It was a blessing. And it was such a hard time going from the 90s when we had music, we had fashion, we had TV, we had movies, we had everything. And then going into the 2000s when like you know, the CW and the WB and the UPN merged to become the CW, and they got rid of all the Black content. So yeah, it was something going from seeing yourself everywhere to not seeing yourself at all. So, but I'm still here. Shit.
Yeah, and that was definitely a crazy time, because we had a moment to where TV was flooded with all these amazing Black shows. Well, some of them were kind of, but we had a bunch of content and opportunities.
We had options.
But also it was the same thing with film too. There were a lot of Black films being made, and then it's just like we kind of went into a drought.
Yeah.
But hold on, Reagan, real quick, on just kind of hitching to that. Even though we had so many shows, were there ever like those times where it was like a little bit more competitive against some of those Black shows where y'all were like, okay, we're doing this number, they're doing these kind of stories? What was it like knowing that there were other shows that were in the same kind of space?
It was so normal. And again, I was a kid, so if those conversations were ever happening, they weren't happening in my mind or with me, but it was just so normal to see us everywhere. It was, you know, I would go to events, and I've known Tatiana for goddamn 25 years and other Black girls on shows and stuff. It was so normal to know and see us on TV, and also see us on like red carpet events. But also it was crazy because we would go to a lot of these red carpet events, white red carpet events, and we wouldn't get any love. Nobody wanted to talk to us. Nobody wanted to interview us. That was something that I saw very, very early on. So, you know, while they were kind of being like, whatever, fuck y'all, on the other side, we were kind of like, oh, it's family. It's family over here. It's family over there, you know? So it was never really a competition thing for me. It was like family.
Jaleel White just recently came out in an interview stating like how big his character was, you know, on Family Matters, and how Urkel kind of like shifted the game and everything, but then he never got invited to the Emmys. You know, it's kind of like what you're saying now. As big as you can get, especially even back then, it was still like that ceiling. Do you feel as though like even now that we're kind of picking at it and kind of pushing it back?
We kind of are, especially when you think about like how Netflix has Moesha and the Parkers, and they just, you know, got all of these shows recently, and you know, Twitter is going crazy because we love these shows, you know. So it kind of is what it is. I mean, we all know how Hollywood can be. We all know that it can be racist and all that kind of stuff. But I think now we're in another Black Renaissance, and because we have, you know, the history of, at least for me, the 90s, and then of course way before me from the 80s and 70s with Blaxploitation films and all that.
Right.
Always seem to have those moments where it's like everything is like hip hop, everything is Black and brown, and then it goes away. So I'm hopeful that because we're in this new Black Renaissance and we have social media where people can be like, where the fuck is the Black shit? You know, she was Black in the book. Why are you casting a white girl or whatever?
Right.
She was Black. That's a t-shirt. She was Black in the book.
Right.
You know, we're not doing that no more. So, you know, I do hope and pray that we have learned from not the mistakes that we've made, but we've learned how the business is, how it can be stank and fucked up and all that. So now it's like we're trying to bring as many people in. We're busting down the door. You know, I write, I direct, you know, so we need more, just more, especially for women, for Black women and for women of color. So I'm really proud to be a part of this new batch of filmmakers.
It does. It sucks. We definitely gonna get into that. It really does suck to think that those are different things that y'all were dealing with in real time that us as an audience, we just didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we appreciated the content. We loved y'all as characters, and you know, wanted to figure out how to get to know you as individuals, as real people. But one of the things another challenge that you faced, being a child star, transitioning into adulthood. Like, I already know that in itself is already a thing that, you know, is really tough. You know, like what Dave was talking about, getting Urkel out of your head for Jaleel White.
Yeah.
You know, or the idea of just getting out of this whole idea of thinking of you and Tatiana as just being kids. And that's one of the things that we were excited to hear back from you after you did the first shoot, and people looked at you differently.
Yeah, now it's true. People, and that's the thing about film and TV is that when you see a character, especially a kid, that picture stays in your mind. It doesn't matter that 3 years have passed or 5 years have passed. So sometimes it's good to update your look. You gotta evolve. You gotta be like Madonna and Beyonce. Like that's how they're able to stay current for as long as they are. But yeah, you gotta be, remind motherfuckers, what time it is.
But that's the difference, though, Ray. With you, that's the huge difference. Your evolution came with this heightened, elevated kind of like. I'm trying to get the right word. You came with that shit. You was like, look, we're going to talk about this politics. We're going to talk about
very outspoken.
Thank you.
Yours came with a difference. It didn't come with like, oh, look, she's grown up into be a beautiful, sexy woman. All right, cool. And she's married, da-da-da. It also came with this education factor like, yo, I'm a strong Black woman too.
That's
with
right.
an opinion, with a real opinion.
And I'm going to put you on to all this craziness that's going on in society.
That's
so
right.
Once social media started to come, your voice started to kind of like blossom in a new way. Could you let everyone know about that?
Sure. I mean, so the last King magazine I did, the last cover was right before the 2008 election. And was it Adele? Did I talk to you? Whoever.
Yeah.
It was Adele. So
Reaganomics.
And I was like, I want to do it, but I want to write something about this new dude, Barack Obama. Like, I'm really kind of feeling him. My parents were huge Hillary Clinton fans.
Right.
But I was like, I kind of like Obama. Like, I was in my mid to late 20s at the time. So I was the target. The young people never show up to vote. I was in that group. But I was like, I really like this dude. And not just because he's Black, but because he's young and fresh and he's educated and he know what the fuck he talking about. Like,
right.
So I was like, let me write something just to kind of get it out there that this is happening. And the issue was like, it was an election issue. It was like, vote for Reagan. You know what I'm saying? So it was perfect. So I loved it. I haven't read it in forever. But anyway, with his election, I became more politically active. I had voted before only because that's just what you do, what your parents tell you to do. But when I saw him and I saw him speak, I was really kind of like, oh, politics can be interesting. It can be like, it's like for me, like I can listen and like know what they're talking about because you know how it is. You be thinking them old white men.
Yep. They don't care about us.
Exactly.
Right.
So that was my awakening. It was a good and bad thing because I was very spoiled. But I know from older people that most presidents, most politicians are not as charismatic as him. Right. That's just not the norm. That's why people love Bill Clinton back in the day. But really, opened my eyes and my kids are very politically aware and my husband is too. I make sure he is, God damn it. That was his first time voting that year. That was his first time.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and thank you guys for giving me the platform to do that. But yeah, that was like my first like kind of political statement ever that I had really made. So yeah, that was dope that y'all gave me that opportunity.
Yeah, but it also opened up the door for you with social media. You're big on there. And
Twitter in particular,
your viewpoints, you jump in the comments, you going back and forth with people. At one point, you was out there like, Reagan, the hater slayer.
Oh my God.
What has your social media life been like since you started, like up to now?
Man, so I had been on MySpace, but when I had my daughter, I didn't have time to upload the pictures and do all the shit that we had to do. So I was like, what else can I do? Like, I kind of like that, but I need something else I can do. I just got a new iPhone, my first one. And I was like, oh shit, you could put it on here and like do it on the phone. So I'll never forget it. It was March 2009. I was on the set for the Sherry Shepherd pilot. I was in that, I was in the original pilot, but they wound up reshooting it, whatever. Remember I was supposed to move to New York, Daytona?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep.
so yeah, I got on there and I really liked it. And I've been on there for like 11 years, I think at this point. And, I do other things. Like I be on Clubhouse sometimes listening. I don't really talk because it's a lot of
they invite you up to the stage a lot, right?
They do, or they say my name, which is kind of nice because I'll literally be in my bonnet and my pajamas, So, but yeah, Twitter is where I be at. It's kind of for old people now because there's so many other apps. But I really love it. I still love it. Yeah, I really do. And it's the whole reason why this second chapter of my career as far as writing and directing and creating content even happened because we did crowdfunders throughout the 12 years that I've been on there. We did crowdfunders to raise money to, create our web series and all that. So it's vital for my career. It really is.
Yeah, no, definitely talk about that. I mean, you coming from the school of Robert Townsend, somebody, also from the Midwest. He's a Chicago guy, also a hustler, obviously. We've heard the story about how he got, Hollywood Shuffle, made on credit cards. But, just an independent filmmaker, just very proactive. And that bug definitely bit you because you didn't settle for waiting for the calls to come. You were very active, and especially when crowdfunding came about, writing, producing, directing.
They thought I did my first one in 2000, either 11 or 12, and nope.
And you came down here in Atlanta, shot. I came by.
Yes, that's right. That's right. My first one, everybody didn't have a GoFundMe, so the idea
absolutely
go. Everybody was like, "It's a scam. Look at her. She's a washed up actress. Y'all, she's scamming y'all out of y'all $20." So all that, I had to get through all of that. But as people started to see the content that I was creating, they saw, okay, so she does have a vision. She is doing something. And they became excited. Well, I love her from Parenthood or whatever. And now she's on the other side. Let me give her $5 or $15 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's been really important.
I remember.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to remember who the director was on that.
Oh, you may know who he is.
Who's that director?
You better tell him. That's right, Matthew Cherry, Oscar winner Matthew Cherry. That's right. And I met him on Twitter. In 2010.
I remember.
I was talking about Black Hollywood because this was before Scandal. Because everything kind of changed after Scandal came on TV. Now we have a lot of Black content, but before that, there was really nothing. So I was talking about Black Hollywood, and then he hit me up like he was a director, and I wrote a script for something, and I had to tell my husband, like, this dude I've never met to direct a movie, and I have to fly to Atlanta. So, but went and boom, that's how.
That's so amazing. Now we're talking about the Oscar award winning, the Academy Award winning Matthew Cherry. Who at the time, was former NFL player.
That's right.
Who decided to go ahead and, do the work. And
it's just like Hollywood Shuffle. Like Robert Townsend was hanging out with some dude named Keenan Ivory Wayans. And like,
somebody he met at the Comedy Store or just at the comedy club auditioning or, doing,
But I think one of the things that probably would shock people is the content of what you were producing. Can you let people know what you were doing?
For sure.
I think that was the curveball for more people than not.
So I did the first script I ever had produced, Matthew Cherry directed. It was a short film called This Time. And then I went into my first web series that I wrote, and I directed season 2. Matthew directed season 1. And it was just kind of like a romantic comedy, urban romantic comedy. We had original music. This was before Empire. Mm-hmm. We had original music and a soundtrack. And it was just about, the music scene in LA and the fashion scene in LA. My next show was a zombie apocalypse show.
That was my joint.
That's right, called Surviving. That was about 2 Black sisters trying to survive this mysterious virus and find their scientist father, who may have had something to do with the release of the virus.
What?
And the government also wants them dead.
Now look, this is 10 years ago almost.
Right.
It ain't that long. Shit, it's maybe six.
Okay, maybe yeah.
Oh wait. So the first one, because that's when you came.
The first one was about 10 years.
Yeah. I'm
right.
bugging. Yeah.
That was 2011. Yep, that was 10 years. Yep.
Yeah, but the sci-fi one, you actually won an award for that. Or no, y'all were nominated.
We were nominated, and I wrote and I directed it. I was not in it. That was the first time that I had ever written and produced a piece of content myself that I was not in, and I loved it. Yeah. My friend Cynthia McWilliams was in it. She was the star of it. But yes, we were nominated for a Gotham Award, and the Gotham Awards, kick off award season. So
for sure.
The year we were nominated for Best Original Show Short Form, and I wrote and I directed it, and me and my husband produced it together. So we go. That was the year this little known independent film called Moonlight was getting all of this praise. So we're here at the Gotham Awards, and they specialize in independent shit, and the cast of Moonlight is there.
Wow.
Like 2 months before they win Best Picture, or 3 months before they win Best Picture. So yeah,
that's the
we didn't win, but we was
there. Y'all was there.
So how much do you pay attention to the journeys of people like, actor turned directors, like, black women actor turned, like such Debbie Allen? Seeing the amazing things that Sally Richardson is doing now.
Yeah.
Terry J. Vaughn is like, directing like crazy right now. So
Sally directed me on Queen Sugar, which is a whole nother thing because they only have women directors. And then Terry J. Vaughn directed me recently in a Christmas film that me and Ray J did in Atlanta, like for TV One. But it's amazing. It's amazing. When I did Queen Sugar, like I had been on black sets before, but I'd never been on a set where all of the directors were women. Most of them were black women. And it was just like feeding what my soul needed at the time, because this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to see. And I'm picking everybody's brain. So it's great. And looking at somebody like Regina King, who I've known since Jerry Maguire, it's like, whatever you thought the possibilities were, think 100 times bigger than that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And she's just a hustler, because I know it wasn't easy. I know, because it's not easy for me. Even right now, I know it wasn't easy for her. So seeing her just do all of these things is really, it's really inspiring.
That's what's up, man. Of course, switching gears a bit, because I see Adele smiling. I see you smiling.
Here we go.
Okay. All right.
Let me change from water.
All right. What is it?
So our last episode, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we had Melissa Ford on.
Okay.
We had Melissa Ford on, and she's a really good friend of ours, of course. And you were part of the legendary classic fifth anniversary cover of King. And that's the one that everyone talks about. That's the one that, for all types of reasons, but just the visual stimulation of being able to see 5 beautiful black women on the cover, classy and showing love. A lot of people didn't know like some of the behind the scenes things that were going on, and she wanted to clear the air about her role. And pretty much she self-proclaimed being a brat, being kind of less than.
Oh, she said she was being an asshole.
Yeah, like an asshole. Her moment.
Yeah, not one of her finer moments.
Not one of her final moments. Okay. And she mentioned that everyone on the set understood what was going on and her being crazy and all of that stuff, but you were the only one that called her out, and she remembers that, like being Reagan.
Oh,
wow. I remember coming over to your side of the whole set. He was like, "Yo, they do so with your girl, man."
I said that? I don't even remember. Okay.
I do remember that. And
okay. Well, I'm a Taurus, so I mean, it kind of, you know how we speak our mind.
Automatic.
Yeah. Okay.
Automatic. And she remembers knowing that you were the one that felt a little bit more like, disrespected by us being in this professional setting and her acting like that. What is it about you that allows you to be able to, in moments like that, where most people will just be like, that's somebody that's acting out, you speaking up in moments like that?
Well, I also felt very, first of all, just the time of these, gorgeous women like Melissa, like Buffy, like, I mean, I think we're kind of used to it now because we're all on Instagram and we're used to seeing just gorgeous women, but it didn't really used to be like that back in the day. The King, music videos. So these women were Marilyn Monroe. They were just,
you're right,
what beautiful women were, especially for Black women. So, even being able to be a part of that with these women, like I'm just an actor. Like I don't have an hour.
You were a King favorite. You were a King favorite though. That's why you were there.
Listen, stop acting like people don't people don't come to you. You don't act like you didn't get reactions to the joint you coming out of the pool.
That was my favorite one. That one never came down with the orange swimsuit. But anyway, like being in the presence of these women, being like looked at like what a pinup girl from back in the day or something, that was kind of new for me, and I was very excited to be with these women. So, but I also know with bad bitches comes egos. It just is what it is. So I don't even remember that day. I don't remember saying anything. But if that's how she felt, I'm glad that she got it out, and she's still one of the most beautiful women in the world still. So if that's how she felt, I'm glad that she got it out. I know everybody was very sweet. Buffy was such a sweetheart. That was my first time meeting Trina and Maya. And, I was also newly pregnant. So I don't know if that had something to do. I knew I was pregnant. Yeah, but I don't know if that little extra estrogen or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
So the interesting thing is, what I didn't even realize until we, us recently had this conversation. Like Daytwan has talked with her, since then about it. I've had, conversations with her about it, but the three of us had never talked about it. And the crazy thing is, like 15 years later, there was still some things that we discussed on the podcast that we never got out. We never knew. Like we had an idea where she was at, why she was feeling a certain kind of way, but she's still in 2021 thought that, we was like pulling a fast one on her and because just to give the context, because I'm pretty sure you don't.
Reagan's face now is so.
I'll let you finish, but I was gonna say I also know what it's like to be a Black woman in a business that's run by men.
Right.
Be lied to and all that kind of stuff. So that shit does happen now.
That's real.
Right. So exactly. So and that's why it was so dope that we were able to have the conversation on the podcast that for the first time, so everybody could hear and even go and see our reactions, because she was like, you guys are lying. so basically her
you lying now? Were you lying now?
No, we were not lying.
Not at all.
So for us,
Reagan is the best.
It's just crazy to think about how ambitious we were at that time. To say like, you know what? We want to go ahead and do this 5th anniversary shoot, have 5 of our top, King, just models come back for this one shoot in this one place, and we're going to do 5 separate covers. It's like, what the hell were we thinking about, first of all? But for us to be able to pull it off is crazy. But the thing is, so we had our 5. We had our 5 in place. At the very last minute, our 5th dropped out. So we had less than 24 hours to find a replacement, which is how Buffy ended up coming on board. Like, what was it, like 14 hours a day? Like between trying to figure out how to get her from South Carolina to LA.
And there were no direct flights from where she was.
So she literally had to drive from South Carolina to Atlanta to get a straight flight and go directly to the shoot. Like it happened that fast.
Well, She was supposed to be there because she was such a sweetheart, and she was. Buffy was everything. She was in all the videos. Everybody wanted her in their videos. So she was supposed to be there.
That's real.
But it was like getting together like a singing group. You know,
so Melissa's whole thing was Melissa was like, yo, everybody held King at such a high.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
But for like what? So for Melissa, like operated in that video model space, video models, doing magazines, like that was like she really understood that. Even with you saying like, oh, I'm just an actor, like, but we didn't see you as just an actor.
Right.
But for her, understanding more about like how magazines work and looking at King at that time and holding us to such a high standard just based on, how, our selection of, how we did shoots and who we brought in and how we shot them. In her mind, in real time, when she saw, quote unquote, the new girl who hasn't proven herself and hasn't earned, the spot yet, that it took her so much longer to be able to get on, she was tripping off of that. Like, hold up a second.
But I think Reagan said it too, though. Like, she deserved to be there. She was the hottest
for sure.
And I think like one of the other things was that, once everything was done, Reagan, what was like the reaction that you got when that cover came out?
Man, it was crazy. It was crazy. And it's so funny being on Twitter. Like that picture comes up all the time,
doesn't it?
All the time. But it was crazy. It was crazy. I still have my poster.
Hey,
up in my room.
As you
should. You know what I'm saying? But also, like, you got to remember, like, back then, people were hustling. These women were hustlers. Like, there's no school you go to be able to know how to navigate in, music videos and magazines and all of that. So these women were just learning on the fly. And, you sometimes you just got to go with your motherfucking instincts. You may be right, you may be wrong, but sometimes you just got to go with your motherfucking instincts. But being a part of that shoot in particular, like it's history. It's the culture. They got to put it in the Black American Museum.
Come on now, real talk. Come on now,
history.
Come on now, talk that talk.
With these amazing women, it's history.
That's so true. That's so true. And moving on from that, though, understanding that your career has taken so many different turns, and you going into writing and producing and all that, I'm not going to say we forget. I think we don't look at and we don't celebrate the fact that your voiceover game is so crazy.
Come on now. Listen.
Like I think that's such an ill part of your career that doesn't get the spotlight that it deserves. How have you been able to conquer that market in Cleveland show and everything else?
I didn't conquer it at all, but I'm in it. I've got my toe in it. And when I was pregnant with my daughter, that's when it happened. I was trying to still work. And people have always told me that my voice is very recognizable. So I was like, well, shit, let me see what it's all about. And the Cleveland show was like my second or third audition. I never really watched Family Guy, but obviously I knew Family Guy, knew of the Seth MacFarlane world, but I had no idea what this show was even going to turn into. And I remember the first year we went to Comic-Con, in San Diego, I never even heard of motherfucking Comic-Con. Like, costumes, me and my husband was like, what the fuck is this? And we're not even comic book, so why are we here? Yo, it's big business, and they have Comic-Cons all over the world. So it was so crazy seeing people who didn't know me from Parenthood or Never Die Alone or whatever, but have my picture and just know me from Roberta or know me from the Pizza Twins on Steven Universe or whatever. So that's a whole other world. And like, we met the guy who played SpongeBob. Like, these people you would never, that's kind of really amazing. You're so famous in this world and you make all this money, but you could go to the store, you could go to wherever, and nobody knows who you are. So that's a whole other world. And it was dope. It was really dope.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you what else was dope. Going back to beautiful women in music videos. You definitely had your stint too. Come on now. That you can have whatever you like.
And that recently became kind of popular with Joe Biden. Like whatever, I forget one line, but yeah.
So. Young Guns. What about the Young Guns?
How did but the tip moment, that was big. That album was crazy. So how did the tip, thing come to be, you getting a music video?
I just got the call from my agent. I got the call from my agent that they wanted me for the video. Dave Meyers was directing, and I went, and everybody saw me, and that was it. We just did it. And it was dope because I got to be funny. Which I loved. The scene at the end with me and Lil Duval, like that's complete ad-libbing. Like, so I had a ball. I really had a ball. And even with the Young Guns thing, I just got a call. And we went to, was it Big Bear? I can't remember, but it wasn't far from LA, and we just we did it. And that was it. Yeah. That's how it always happens. I get the call and I'm either like yes or no.
So you've turned down a few things as well.
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious. Look at that smile though.
Exactly. I'm gonna be like, so yeah, what did you turn down? So you
God, I don't even remember.
You're supposed to be on a big pimping boat? Is that what it was?
No. I was young at that point. That was definitely 90s, but I think it was 90s, but yeah. I feel like, I've done, I think 3 or 4 music videos. That's enough for me. That's enough.
Yeah, especially when they're like classics. And
like,
the one thing about the Young Guns one, that was like showing young love like on a different level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the ski lodge and everything, and just being able, I bet y'all set the tone for a lot of people to be like, that's the trip that we want to take.
Yeah, for real, to the snow, because we don't ski. We do because we're everywhere. We do everything, but like usually we don't really do that. So that was it was nice because you weren't really seeing music videos like that with the ski. And so that was nice.
And what kind of music are you listening to? Hey, you got the next one.
Yeah.
Like what are you listening to right now?
Oh God, I love Ari Lennox. I love her a lot. Jasmine Sullivan, like kind of like I'm embracing coming into or peaking at auntie age. I see it. You can
see it down the road.
Yes. So I'm a product of the 80s and the 90s. I know good R&B from the 80s. I know good R&B from the 90s. And it's a lot of good R&B that I still love right now. So I'm a little older than, I don't know everybody that's out right now, but I know the people that I like. And that's one of the reasons why I do like being on Clubhouse. I don't be talking. I just be listening. Because there's a lot of, good music conversations on there. So I'll be finding out about new people and stuff. So yeah.
That's what's up. Go ahead, Dave. All right, hey.
Nah, I'm Day now.
It's the Henny.
It's the Henny. No, I was just gonna see. I forgot. I had a question too. It was a perfect. Oh, I got it. So being that, you intentionally, which is, I'm pretty sure is so helpful for your sanity. You intentionally, say, hey, we're going to go ahead and live like a real normal life. It's not, we're not going to, it's okay. I used to have a thing I used to say, it's okay to go to Hollywood, but it's not okay to go Hollywood, So y'all definitely didn't go Hollywood, but like still, what are some of those moments? You're saying that you got the phone calls, from Tip's team, from the Young Guns team, hey, we just want you for the video, and you just got basically handpicked. So when you're in your quote unquote regular space, I'm pretty sure at some point in time it still is surprising to some people that you're a fan of who are such a fan of you, or people just really recognize like what are some of those moments you'd be like, wow, for real?
Well, just being on social media in general, like it puts you, you can talk to people that in my regular everyday life I would not see. So like, having Ava DuVernay like something or message me about something, or I don't know, any of these new women directors that are coming up, like, you know, I've created a really interesting community for myself, and it's with a lot of like up and coming creators, writers, directors, you know, artists, all of that. So talking to them and, you know, looking at them as peers, because I'm still on the grind myself on this side of the camera. So looking at, you know, these folks like peers and them being like, oh my God, are you asking me for advice? Are you at, you know, so that's really cool. But, you know, just being able to be in community with these folks and to be able to create your own community that uplifts you rather than just going to Hollywood, going on auditions and hearing no, and that won't work. And maybe if you change this, and does the protagonist have to be a Black woman? Like, you hear that shit like constantly, that you have to kind of balance it out with, you know, creating community with people who are in the same struggle as you. So even though I've been in it for a minute and having people call with music videos and all that kind of stuff, you're only as good as your last thing. And I appreciate that. And I love that I did that, but we on to the next thing. So.
And what is the next thing for you right now? What do you feel?
The next thing is I am prepping to direct my first film. It is a horror film called Charcuterie, and I'm so excited about it. The writer is Chris Courtney Martin, who is this amazing Black woman from Philly. So we have the Philly ties, and I love the horror space. I just love genre periods, the superhero world and horror and all that. I'm really digging that space. So I'm looking to do some damage in that space.
Yep. Jordan Peele has opened it up for us a little bit more. So now, especially like, and that's what immediately I thought of when Surviving and all of that stuff like kind of connects. I just don't think people would think that you would be into that.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Cause you know what? It's like, even with Surviving, which was 2015, 2016, when we were shopping it and looking for investors and all of that, everyone kept saying, even though our show wasn't even really that scary, but it was about the zombie apocalypse, but people were like, Black people do not like horror. Black women do not like horror. And I'm like, y'all don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because I've loved horror since I was little. Right. When on Fridays, we used to go to Blockbuster. We would hit up the Black section and the horror section. Like that's what we would do. Yes, back in the day. That's right. So there's this untapped market for, you know, horror and thrillers and genre that, you know, we're just kind of now tapping into with Get Out and Black Panther and all of that. But we've been trying to do this for a minute, but now seems to be the time, and I'm really excited about it.
I would just say, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm real curious. I'm very, very curious. You know, being in your soccer mom bubble.
Yes.
You know, and you're, you know, mommy, you know, be quiet. You're loud. Goodness gracious, everybody can hear you at the games. Like, do your kids like think that y'all are cool at all? Like.
You know, it's so funny. Like, me and my husband, we're just from, you know, the generation we're from. We're very close in age. Like, but my kids are very like, okay, so let me pick my words. Okay, so they're not that at all. Like, you know, my daughter is very into like Hamilton and musicals and all that kind of stuff. Right. And my son is just Pokemon this and Pokemon that. But they do like watching Steven Universe, like cartoons that I'm on. Right. Watched all of them and the Cleveland Show. And they're good at picking out, okay, if they're watching a cartoon, they're like, oh, that's this actor. That's that actor that I saw. So they're very good at picking out like cartoon, you know, voiceover actors. And my daughter is a big fan of horror. She loves horror. She's a great writer. Yes, she's an amazing writer and artist as well. So, you know, they pick up because they got it honest. They got it honest. My husband. So they're different, but they're better than us, I think.
Did you put her on to like the classic horror joints? Like, what are some of your favorite horror joints?
Well, with her, I started with, because I also love Disney. I grew up on Disney. So I started with like horror cartoons, like Coraline or like Paranorman, and because I like horror cartoons too, like, you know, Monster House, or that's kind of how I started her. And then as she got older, we graduated to the new It that came out, 2-3 years ago, and Lovecraft Country, and you know, anime, and yeah.
Yo, man. Hey, I'm a fan of some of that. Some I still haven't watched it.
Oh, it's good.
I started watching Lovecraft Country. I was like, wow.
Oh, that's good too. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a whole genre that everyone is loving right now. I mean, Reagan, man, thank you so much. But before we let you go, what you have to do is you have to let us know.
Okay.
What some of the best work that you feel you've done, and some of the best work that you feel your husband has done musically.
Oh, wow.
No pressure.
Ooh, no, it's no pressure, but he's worked with so many amazing people, from Dr. Dre to Missy to a lot of LA people. But I gotta say, the best work I have done has been directing Surviving. It was my first time directing something that was genre, because for Almost Home, you know, I just called my friends, and it was very, you know, easy, just a romantic comedy about the music scene in LA. But, you know, going from that to Surviving, where it's sci-fi, and I really got to look for the right DP, and we're casting actors, and we have like a 100-person crew and a real budget, and having to go to locations and stuff. I was really proud of myself, to be quite honest with you. And the best music to me that my husband has done would be, it's a lot.
Yep.
It's a lot of stuff, but the most special to me is the soundtrack that he did with his brother, Dewan, who's a singer, and his sister, Queen, who's a rapper, for our web series, Almost Home. He created the whole score, original music. We did music videos and all of that. So that's the most special to me.
That's what's up.
That is so cool. Why? And I'm gonna tell you something. I mean, not only are you know by far one of my favorite humans, you know, just period.
Automatic.
You know, by far one of my favorites since day one. By far, you know. So, another one of the things, though, I'm gonna tell you, like you really helped me personally with a very defining moment, and I kind of touched on it earlier.
Okay.
I remember the first time I realized you were part of this process where I realized that casting agents paid so much attention to what we were doing with King. I remember actually speaking with direct.
I wasn't even aware.
Yeah, like I remember speaking with, finding myself in rooms with directors or casting agents, and them like helping, to hit me to was like, no, man, we look at what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, the very first time you shot with us was one of those times where it was just like somebody was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like stuff like this. Yeah. So, man, a part of the legacy. This is family business right here.
That's right. That's so dope. And just know that y'all changed the culture. Y'all made history. And even hearing that, casting directors looking for new talent, as hard as it was to be, a Black woman and woman of color, in Hollywood, y'all made this platform to now people are getting jobs, doing other things. So you should be proud of yourselves.
Wow.
I'm proud of y'all.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you so much. For real.
Reagan.
Oh, and let the people know I'm hoping you come back with the whole podcasting thing and all the good stuff and everything.
You are so funny. Hey, 2020, I didn't have time for shit. Okay. Distance learning. Okay. In my house, I didn't have time for nothing. So but I know people been asking for me to bring Reaganomics back. So
Reaganomics.
We working on it.
That's what's up. Thank you so much for rocking with us. Thank you for your time and your talent. Much love.
Absolutely. Tell D we said what up. Who is also in King. Y'all what ain't it first husband, wife in King?
What? Oh yes, that's right. You better know it.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm just saying, like I said, this is family business right here.
That's right. That's
right.
All
right, love. We appreciate you. Tell them we said what up.
Absolutely. Y'all take care.